All right, so welcome to the On Purpose podcast, where we're here to live a life of purpose, to flourish and be fulfilled in all areas of our life. So, Kirk, I got one for you today,
All right.
and maybe two, maybe two.
Uh-oh.
I think we're
Uh-oh.
going to start off with calcification, thanks to Donna. That one really hits home,
Okay.
and
Cool.
yeah. So, what is calcification to you?
Um, Calcification is a phenomenon that happens in organizations. As far as I know, every organization ever, as far as I can determine. I can't prove that, obviously, but so incredibly um, common and present and pervasive. And it's the pattern of an organization starts with a particular intention. So a church starts with a particular intention to connect with God or bring heaven on earth, whatever it is, however it is they state it. The United States government is an organization that started with an intention, something like a government for and by the people. That was a completely radical notion at the time. Um, a nonprofit organization would get created with an intention to serve whoever their constituency is, et cetera, et cetera. Any organization, probably any two where two people or more exist in a common commitment. For maybe not two or more, but maybe, probably. Um, Calcification exists, and that's that the original intention of an organization, as time goes by, gets lost by those people who are in the day-to-day fulfillment. Um, Great example. I let my vehicle run out of gas the other day, and somebody brought me a a portable, gas can, red plastic gas can, and it's got the fancy nozzle, for safety. I'm not quite sure how someone mentally can, how. Anyway, so my point is the gas. So the gas can's heavy; it's hard to hold up. And the way it's designed, you put the thing in the hole and stick it up there, and it just drizzles out, and there's no air getting in, and the sides are collapsing, and then it goes really, really slow or slower, slower. Then all of a sudden the slides pop out, and it gets a little bit of air, then it drips a little bit more, and literally just I could have been there for 45 minutes trying to pour 2.5 gallons of gas in my vehicle. So the solution I came up with, which is the solution that anybody I've ever known who uses one of these gas cans came up with, is you take all the stupid safety stuff off, and you just pour it in there as best you can, getting gas everywhere. So I got gas all over, not on me, but on the side of the car and all over the gas special all over the place. But it's literally the only way I can hold it up long enough, physically hold it up long enough, is to get the gas in the car. I can't hold this thing for like 40 minutes, making it completely unsafe. So, and that apparently is completely missed by whoever thought, hey, we should come up with a way to have gas cans be safer. So, you know, I've used gas cans for years now, for the last 5 or 10 years. This thing happened with gas cans, particularly, I don't know, about a decade ago. And everybody knows, and nobody uses the safety equipment. Everybody I've ever talked to, oh yeah, you gotta take that shit off and throw it away. It's total garbage. Blah, 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 blah. So the point is somewhere along the way there was an organization committed to consumer safety, customer safety, right? And they go, oh, somewhere in Nebraska 20 years ago, somebody blew themselves up with because a little bit of gas drizzled out of just a regular, pour it in there, kind of just a straightforward kind of thing that would actually work, right? Somewhere somebody did something stupid, right? And so now there's this whole contraption put together, and it's like governmental now, right? Because you can't get a gas can without all the safety stuff in it. I think it's illegal to do what I did and all the stuff in the States. So that's my point. That's calcification, right? The rules and regulations around safety do not promote safety. In fact, they do the exact opposite. That's calcification. Most churches I've ever been to, and when I say most, I mean like maybe with one exception, was completely not what it presented itself to be. These were not a group of people giving everything they had to understanding and following God. They were there doing whatever they were doing, and then going home and doing whatever. And like whatever, right? Or there's a guy up in the podium trying to be God, right? That's calcification. That wasn't the purpose. The purpose of the church is to how to create a structure for people to connect with God. And most churches are anything but. The United States government is absolutely not a government formed by the people. That's not an opinion. It's, but politicians get elected not by voters but by donors. Votes are basically bought. If you put enough money into commercials and stuff, you can make anybody look great. And so politicians are serving the donors that paid for the campaigns, not the people that the whole thing was designed and set up for. So that's calcification. And I could go on forever. But so the idea, so another example, let's talk about bureaucratic calcification. In any organization, about 10 to 20% of the people do almost everything, and everyone else is just kind of hanging out. Now you could dispute that 10 to 80%. You'd have a hard time doing that with me, but theoretically one could say, oh, it's like 50% or 80% or 70%, whatever it is, right? But people who are at the top, so that if you ask anybody who's at the top of their field and ask them, hey, how many people in your field actually know what they're doing? And I've tested this. The answer you usually get is about 10%. And that's definitely my experience of my field. People who are like transformational speakers, self-development speakers, that kind of stuff. Almost everyone I've ever listened to, I have almost no respect for. They're not who they say they are. They're not. It's incongruent. It's misleading, misdirecting. There's all this marketing and selling involved, right? So none of that's what I want to have any part of. I was in an organization for on and off for about 20 plus years, leading transformational events. And then one day, after I'm in about 15 years, I'm well established, reputation. I got accomplishments. There's lots of things that I accomplished that other people had not, and all sorts of things. Like I was a top contributor to what we were doing. And I get a new manager, and I was totally by surprise. I'm calling my old manager. Hey, like, oh, I'm your manager now. Oh, okay, cool. Well, would you like me to share with you the intention I created for the evening that I'm about to lead, which is exactly how I was trained to lead, trained to prepare. And she says, your intention, you're here to fulfill my intention. If you don't do that, I'll find somebody who will. Now, that is not the purpose of like a district manager or a general manager to their top performer. The purpose is to have your top performers perform even better this year than they did last year, right? Which I was all in for. I'm all about performance, right? I'm all about being a top performer. But the organization started moving very dramatically to this bureaucratic sort of power trip kind of thing. And so she literally had no connection to the purpose of her position, and thus no connection to the mission of the organization. She was there asserting her power and beating up on somebody who was literally just there to serve. And I wasn't even getting paid. So it wasn't like your volunteer top producer, your very first conversation, you threatened him because he did exactly what he was trained to do. So that's like just the perfect example of calcification. Let me pause there. Otherwise, I might go on for another 20 minutes.
Yeah, no, that's actually really good. That's a good segue for this question, is how to maintain a sense of purpose and meaning while you know that you're in calcification.
Yes. Well, that's the thing, right? So with Earthquake University, that's the thing. I had already, when I met John and, said yes to this adventure, I was already very clear about calcification. Like I just lived through it just not too long before I met John. And so he has this incredible vision and this, I wanted to be a part of what he was speaking into existence. And I was clear I could be a top performer, be someone who actually moves the needle, actually makes a difference, and actually is a part of like how we are going to get to wherever we get joyfully, not for me or my ego or anything. Like I just love, bringing it. I love, being great at something, So, so one of my first thoughts, there was two or three all at the same time, but one of them was how this thing is so beautiful that's getting started, And as far as I know, calcification is inevitable. And then I took on the job of, okay, well, I'm gonna crack that nut. I'm gonna figure out how to keep the purity and the richness and the inspiration and the integrity of figure out how to orchestrate and be responsible for a culture in an organization that doesn't exist yet. Because at that time it was me, John, and Mel, and about 10 minutes later it was Donna, and we're all looking at each other. What next? At every juncture, So,
Yeah.
but so it's not like anything existed yet, or very little. It's like, okay, well, how do we? And egos are coming in all the time because it's a personal development thing. It was like a transformational personal development thing we were doing initially, and it's like egos coming in all the time. I mean that's the business that I'm in, is interacting with egos, right? But anyway, so we get flooded with big egos all the time, and everybody's wanting to convert what isn't developed yet into their image. And I wanted to at first also. By the grace of God, somehow I noticed that it was really important for me to sit down, shut up, listen, observe, get the landscape dialed in before I started contributing and shaping and molding and that kind of stuff. But the impossible task before me, and literally impossible, that's not a cute thing I'm saying, is okay, how are you going to construct, nurture a culture where John gets seen and appreciated, because he was appreciated, but people were taking from him, his time and energy and generosity. How could we create a culture where John is appreciated, respected, and his vision is supported? John gets supported and his vision gets supported, which looked like the impossible sort of thing for me. And so one of the answers is purpose. To create a purpose, or to create and offer a purpose, or offer a purpose, not a purpose, but purpose as a world to live in. And if we could have everybody looking at the same purpose, everybody's going to be in different locations, different levels in their location, moving in different directions. But if I could create something where people start moving in the same direction, that might make a difference in calcification. And there's something else. Well, there's a lot of answers, but so specifically with regard to purpose. And then another thing that I saw, it was really important that every individual understood the purpose of their role. See, the bureaucrat comes in, the mid-level manager comes in, and has no appreciation for the top. They're not interacting with the leadership. They have no idea what the general commitment is, and they have no connection to the people at the bottom. In fact, they're trying to dominate and control and manipulate the people at the bottom. And so that middle manager, just as an example, is not connected to his or her individual purpose. Hey, there's going to be top performers. There's going to be people who are developing themselves into top performers, and there's going to be a whole bunch of people hanging around who are never going to be top performers. So if someone were a manager of a performance organization where performance was necessary, then being connected to, my job here is to nurture, promote, guide, assist, and people being inspired by and becoming top performers. But absent of that awareness and like deep, like awareness, like this is the purpose of my existence here, not like a good idea, something like a quote on my coffee cup or something. Then perhaps if every person in the organization were connected to the overall vision, and then how their piece fits into the greater good, to the greater vision, then, because in real life, exceptions no set of rules and regulations or no structure can anticipate the chaos and insanity of actual real life and real people. So if you create a pathway and put the blinkers on and never deviate from it, that's going to kill an organization very quickly, because 10 years ago, there's no way we can anticipate what's happening today, right? So everybody's all locked in, and that's actually pretty common. Or organization is like, everybody's like, I don't do rules, I just go with what I feel. And then everybody's going in different directions. And if you take a boat and put two really strong rowers, that's only useful if they're rowing in the same direction. If they're
That's
rowing in different
so
directions, it
true.
doesn't matter how great the rowers are. It doesn't matter how great the oars are. And it doesn't matter how great the boat is. And it doesn't matter how beautiful the day is. You're not going nowhere. It
But I
doesn't.
also heard this too. I want to drop this in with
Yes.
what you're saying because it's very important. On a boat and you're in the middle of nowhere, if you're a degree off, you're going somewhere else.
Yes. Right. That's very
So
good.
it's
Yes.
it's like just stay really focused and stay dialed in to that one mission, that one purpose. So
Yeah.
I just yeah.
And for most people in one organizations, and I'm being incredibly generous, being 1% off would be a freaking miracle. Most people are literally going the opposite direction. So, if so, this is the On Purpose podcast, right? Exploring what it is to live a life of purpose. One usefulness of purpose, let's say, would be it is, I would say, at purpose at the level of organization and purpose at the level of individual. I would say is one of the key ingredients to fortify an organization against calcification.
What would you say are the early warning signs of calcification for someone to have their radar and their awareness?
Noticing people are talking about rules that they don't understand the purpose of.
Mm.
You have to be at the meeting at 10. Well, why do I have to be at the meeting? I don't know. You just got to be at the meeting at 10. That's calcification. You have to be meeting at 10 because this is our only opportunity to take care of that which needs to get taken care of so that we can do business tomorrow the way it needs to be done. See, there is an intention to the meeting, and there is an intention for everybody to show up on time so that everybody can show up, get the meeting completed, everybody gets what they need, and they go out and they do whatever it is they're doing. Right? There is actually a really integrous, even loving purpose behind, hey, the meeting starts at 10, not
Mhm.
10:05 and not 10:10 and not 10:15, not whenever the flip you feel. That's not how this works. Right. So there
Eh,
is, so even to something so mundane as, hey, you're late for the meeting. There's actually the purpose of that time is infinitely bigger than, oh, that's just the rule. But that's how almost every rule in almost every organization has been presented to me. Well, why would we do that? I don't know. It's just the rule. That's what we do. I'm sorry. Hey, I apologize. I'm sorry. I asked a question. I had curiosity. I wanted a deeper understanding. I so apologize. I promise I'll never do that again.
oh man, that sounds so familiar.
Yes, doesn't it? I'm literally thinking of like 30 examples. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, even just to today.
Even just today, yes.
Even just today, there's so many things.
So in this just to tie that up, in this organization at Earthwaking, I'm really always attentive to people understand why they're doing what they're doing. They understand why they're telling someone else about a rule or whatever it is, a policy, the way a channel works, hey, if you want to come to the village, you have to fill out an application. Oh, I just thought I'd just show up and okay, that's okay. Well, we don't have a place for you today. Well, why not? Well, because you didn't fill out an application. I know, I just didn't feel like it. Well, I understand that, but when you fill out that application, it allows us to prepare for you and be ready to serve you when you arrive. And without that, we're like not available right now to drop everything we're doing and go figure out whatever your needs are. I don't know why I should take my time to take care of it because you certainly did not take your time to take care of what you need. So I'm not sure why you're giving me all the attitude and and the wide eyes and the kissy teeth and the exasperated breathing and all that kind of stuff.
My goodness.
Or someone shows up late to a meeting and like you, okay, 30 minutes and they show up 15 minutes late, and at 15 minutes you kick them out. They're like all offended. I thought I got 30 minutes. Well, if you'd been here on time, you would have got 30 minutes. Absolutely. But didn't do that. So goodbye. And there's a purpose to that. Like there's actually a conscious intention about that. It's not just about the rules. I've got, meetings all day lined up. So anyway, I actually forgot what the last question was I was answering, so I may be off track. I'm not sure.
The early signs. What are the early signs of calcification? That was the question.
Yeah. Yeah. People not knowing why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah. And that's really been a big thing around people landing here, is still, it's still that about
well, it's worse than
our
that.
purposes, what we're
It's worse than that. People land here because people land here fully confident that they know what there is to do here. So I got to deal with all that. Then,
or knowing that I have something so big I want to add to this right now, yes, and exactly. I've got a gift for you.
Yes. It will slow down, and who knows, 12 weeks, 24 weeks, 6 months, we could definitely get to that. But for now,
this is zip it real quick.
Yeah. So yeah, you have to get someone down to zero before you can start building, and getting people down to zeros takes really quite something. Empty the cup before you can put more tea into it. People are filled with opinions and conclusions and certainties, making them almost impossible to work with. Your screen's frozen. I'm not sure what it's like over there. Oh, okay. I can hear you now.
And I'm back.
Hey.
I didn't hear the last part of what you said, but it's probably on here. It probably got captured. What was the? Do you remember the last thing that you kind of said?
Oh,
okay.
I'm like totally.
Oh, we're gonna keep going.
Well, I'm sure it was awesome. If you missed it, it might have been the best thing I ever said. If you caught it, well, I'm glad you caught it.
And so yes, calcification. Another thing is, how do you maintain a healthy mindset during it? I think that's got to be the biggest thing for me,
Healthy mindset. Say a little bit more about your question.
Yeah, like how to maintain it, how to maybe is there reflection practices that you do? Staying connected. You already said one was staying connected to your why, but
okay.
But maintaining that healthy mindset during calcification.
Okay, well, let me back up. Let me alter your question a little bit, see if that works for you. When you put in mindset, you've already answered the question a little bit, so I want to take that out and have a free palette to answer the question. So the question I'm hearing is, what practices or what would one have their attention on to maintain organization with its original intention, like without calcification? Is that what you're asking?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right, cool. So one of them is the visionary program. So one of the reasons the visionary program is designed the way it is because it's designed around distinctions, worlds and language that are real in the way that things in language are real. And these beautiful worlds and language that are inspiring and just ridiculously useful. For example, one of our distinctions here at North American University is integrity. And so now A distinction is different than a definition or a report or an explanation or description. It's not that. It's literally an articulation where the world that you're articulating becomes real in language, and people can see the, oh my gosh, like there's beauty and inspiration in what people perceive, and like transformationally useful, like productive, beyond like state change. So here's what I mean. So integrity. So integrity is here. It is honoring one's word. So, you know, that certainly covers keeping agreements and promises. Hey, I'll be there tomorrow at noon, and be there tomorrow at noon, right? So that's like the lowest level. That's like training wheels, which is quite a challenge for some people, just doing whatever they said. But honoring your word is bringing honor and dignity to every sound that comes out of your mouth. With regard to promises agreement specifically, you can always honor your promise even if you can't always keep it. If you have a big life and you got a lot of stuff going on, you can't anticipate everything that comes at you. So you're not going to be able to keep your word always, right, over a lifetime. But you could definitely bring honor and dignity to that you gave your word. So let's say there's a stoppage, and there's a construction uh, block in the road, and I'm on my way to an appointment. And so I have to wait 30 minutes, and I'm 30 minutes late to the appointment, right? I could walk in all whiny and complaining about, man, they don't even know how to, do road construction here. Why they do it in the middle of the night, and why they, I blame, fuss, more time, more distraction. Or and that would be me being a victim of the situation, right? Not bringing honor and dignity to the, hey, I said I'd be here at 10. I said I'd be here 30 minutes ago. So bringing in honor and dignity to, I have been here 30 minutes ago. It's like, hey, I'm late. First of all, just like own it 1,000%. Hey, I'm late. I said I'd be here at 10. It's 10:30. I want you to know that actually you're really important to me. What we're doing is really important to me. What happened to me was beyond, as far as I am aware, was beyond my control. There was an accident happened in the car in the highway, and there's a delay. But listen, you're important to me, and that's what we're doing together is important to me. Is there anything that you would like me to do to make this up to you? Boom. People were generally like, no, it's cool, which is very different than someone coming in and not acknowledging it. Hey, what's up? What's up? Is you're 30 minutes late. What's with the attitude? Uh, that was not attitude, but it's coming super right quick. You're dialing that up, buddy. or whatever. Oh, you don't understand. I tried my best. Like there's no honor and dignity. Like, hey, I'm an adult. I said I'd be there, and I'm not there. And hey, I own that, right? So that's like um, um, so honoring one's word, coming from. So that's one. Two, coming from love in all matters. Most people, most of the time, people either like hear this and like, oh yeah, of course, or hear this and like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. But either way is perfect. But most people, most of the time, and I'm being incredibly generous, are not coming from love. They're operating for love. The people pleaser is, being all smiley and helpful for love and attention. The victim is being a victim because they want love and attention. The villain is being a villain because they, if they hurt somebody and that person still loves them, then wow, that's like, wow, I'm really loved. So that's operating in the world for love. That's just somebody who doesn't think that they are loved. They don't think that love is abundant. They don't think love is everywhere. And they have to perform and do and wear the mask and get it right and behave properly and say the right things at the right time to the right people to experience love. And all that is not true. What's true is, we are love, and love is everywhere. And all you got to do is just let it in and receive it. Just allow it. And so being someone who operates from love in the world is the second aspect of integrity. The third aspect of integrity is doing what works. I've noticed a large percentage of people, when I say large percentage, I mean like large percentage of people in the world are going around doing something that doesn't work and they know it. Well, I just feel like, well, that's beautiful, but oh, I never set an alarm for anything. Okay, well, how's that working? Well, people, whatever, people just got to deal with me, whatever. Okay, good, good, whatever. Doing what works and stop doing what doesn't work. That would be life altering. That would be just like dramatically life altering for most people. And the fourth and final aspect of integrity at Earthquake University is being whole and complete. Most people, most of the time, again, being incredibly generous, literally think they're broken, think they're unlovable. Now, some people have the mask all tight and like, no, 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 I'm great. I'm Superman. I can do anything. My mother told me, blah, blah, blah. But underneath that, right, that's all reaction to people feeling unloved, unworthy, broken, not enough, not strong enough. The world is crazy. The world is dangerous. There's, evil everywhere. I'm unlucky, just whatever, right? So, um, that's a victim mentality. That's all an illusion. Every person on the planet is perfect. Every person. Well, we're so powerful and so divine. If you're committed that you're crazy and broken, then you could certainly like live that life, and that's super, super common. And in the domestication and the narrative of the world, the consumerism and stuff, people are taught that, and the education system, people are taught that what they think and what they feel is in the consequence. Here's what I want you to learn it exactly word for word. And next week you're going to get a test. And after the test, you can never worry about it again. That's not education. I don't know what that is. Well, I do know it is, but it's not education. And so we're literally taught through consumerism. You're not enough by yourself. You need to have the right car, the right clothes, the right house, the right political affiliation, the right diet, the right location, the right neighborhood, the right school, the right toothbrush, just whatever, and so the message underneath that is we're not enough. And so imagine a life, if you're listening, just imagine your life, living your life every day. And from this moment forward, you are somebody who brings honor and dignity to every word that comes out of their mouth. You are someone who operates from love, from abundance of love, and overflows of love into the world. And that's your groove. You're someone who doesn't do what doesn't work and doesn't do what does work. And you're someone who's completely present to that they're whole and complete. Imagine that life for a moment. So all that is to say, all that was the distinction integrity. So that's a world and language. Hopefully you found some inspiration in it. And if you were to step into this world with me, oh my gosh, I promise you, your life would never be the same in the most beautiful, delicious, productive way. So that's a distinction. That's a world and language. The visionary program is centered around distinctions. And that's one of the strategies, if you will, of to compete against the pull of calcification, where people who live at the village and many more all over the world have done the visionary program and are beginning to live a life of distinction rather than a life of opinions and conclusions and being a victim and being a hero and being a villain and wearing a mask and trying to get it right and trying to be the person everybody told you you're supposed to be or what you think they want you to be and all this stuff, right? So one of the answers to calcification is distinction. Another answer, I'll just go one more and then I'll hand it back over, is the dysfunction junction that we do here, and or the shit bucket. Let's start with the shit bucket first because it sounds a little edgier. So we have a little table that we meet every morning. The little core of us, we discuss business for 30 minutes every day. And there's a little bowl in the middle of the table. And in that bowl, you can drop a piece of paper. And on that piece of paper, you will write down something that you got triggered by or you saw someone else was triggered by. This trigger is important, okay? So you see my mess up about something. Hey, I saw Fred the other day. He was triggered when someone told him no about, whatever. Cool, just drop it in the bucket. And then the next day or whenever someone pulls it out, I go, okay, so we're gonna do our next little thing here, and we read it out. And as soon as it comes out of the shit bucket, it's no longer that person's issue; it's our issue, right? And so now we all find the dysfunction in each one of us. No, but he was triggered. No, I understand that, but how we do it here is if it's in him, it's in all of us. And so we all find okay, good, yeah, I found it. Yeah, I can see where I would have done that. And could still do that and did that about 20 minutes ago, whatever it was, right? So, and now we're all in this together and we get to the source of it. Oh, I remember when I was a child, this thing happened and I made a decision that, if I didn't get what I wanted, I was going to start with death or just whatever it is, right? And I can, boom, boom, boom. And then we can all find it in ourselves and all have a shift in perspective together, like the whole community. And then we all elevate together. So you put those three things together, you put distinction, purpose, and this regular diet of getting to the source of what you're triggered by. And then altering the lie. So one of the things that we say around here is that love, peace, love, and joy is a natural state. Now you'll notice most people are not experiencing peace, love, and joy. I'm not saying it's a common state. I'm saying it's the natural state of a human being. Like I have a cute puppy out there, dog now. She's all grown up, but she's peaceful. She's not walking around worried about the future, worried about the past, worried about how she's going to get her significance. Like, is anybody going to tell her she's a great dog today? Like, those are not her concerns. She's just like being. She's like just present and just being a dog, right? So we humans can learn a lot from that. And I just lost my track a little bit. Oh, so the three things. So the purpose, the daily trigger. Oh, yeah. So if the natural state of a human being is peace, love, and joy, and you're triggered, then we say, go find the lie. Oh, when I was a kid, my mother yelled at me. I was like completely scared and overwhelmed and I had an out of body experience. When I came back in, I had a wall around my heart and I had this sort of like, I could still hear and see the world, but I no longer felt it. And so I told myself, like this little child put himself in prison to survive what he was dealing with. So now that I'm 61 years old and someone talks to me a certain way, it's like that, that thing could come back, and I blow up and whatever. I get really triggered. Oh, well, you got triggered, right? So what's the lie? Oh yeah, the lie is to survive the world. I need to wall off my heart. The truth is, I'm big enough to feel my feelings fully.
Yeah.
Big enough to open up my heart and receive the world fully. That's true. That is actually literally true. And the lie is I need to wall off my heart. So a regular diet of finding out what's triggering you, getting at the source of it, and finding the lie and telling yourself the truth, the purpose, and the living a life and operating through distinction rather than opinion and conclusion and domination and avoiding domination on stuff. So there we go.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely love that. I wanted to bring in that if you're touched and that you're moved by this conversation about the world of distinctions, about how to create worlds in language that somebody can step into and feel this type of freedom, it's really
Yes.
about freedom, I think, so if you'd like to step into that world and step into a life of purpose and just see what your voice has to say, getting in touch with that, getting into the source, the description box for you for the visionary leadership program that Kirk just distinguished so well. And we're a resource for you. Please reach out, and we're here to support you on this journey. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And don't get calcified out there.
Awesome. Perfect.